In one of the most feared places in the Philippines lies an island with untouched beaches, vibrant cuisine, and a culture preserved for centuries. But why is this place labeled dangerous? With tensions rising amidst the upcoming 2025 elections, is it really safe to visit? In this region, there is a dark past that people tend to fixate on. It's a side of the Philippines I don't quite understand yet. So join me as we explore and let's find out what makes this place so dangerous. I've been invited to this trip by the Tourism Promotions Board, the marketing arm of the Department of Tourism in the Philippines. And when people found out I was going here, the immediate reaction was, isn't it dangerous there? And to be honest, I knew very little about this place. And in my journey to understanding my country, I knew I had to go. Recently, I've been fortunate enough to visit different parts of Mindanao, but this time we're heading to the westernmost frontier, the Zamboanga Peninsula, specifically Zamboanga City and Isabela de Basilan. If you look closely, the side of the Philippines is geographically close to Malaysia and Indonesia. That's why if you go to this part of Zamboanga, the Pilar Barter Trade Center, you'll notice Malaysian and Indonesian products being sold here. But more than the trade goods, we got something more sacred from our neighboring countries. Wow. So this one is going to be the biggest mosque in Southeast Asia. Hindi pa siya kompleto pero from afar makikita mo talaga na mega structure siya dito at the heart of Zamboanga. Although this city is still predominantly Christian, Islam has a significantly high population here and it's the second largest religion in Zamboanga. This city also serves as a significant commercial and logistical gateway to the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao or the BARMM. Despite being geographically surrounded by the BARMM, Zamboanga is administratively separate from them. Why is that? The Bangsamoro Autonomous Region is a self-governing area in the Philippines with its own government. Islam plays a key role in its cultural and political identity, shaping its laws, governance, and way of life. Roughly 90% of the population here is Muslim, which makes sense considering its close proximity to the two Muslim-majority countries, Malaysia and Indonesia. So does that mean that Zamboanga is also Muslim-centric? That's what I initially thought, but not really. We explored the city of Zamboanga and saw how it preserves its historical roots by maintaining many structures built over a century ago. If you truly want to understand Zamboanga's history, industry, and culture, this is the place to be. Welcome to Fort Pilar, a centuries-old fortress that stands as a testament to Zamboanga's rich past. Fort Pilar now houses the National Museum of Zamboanga, showcasing artifacts, art, and exhibits on the city's indigenous heritage, maritime history, and biodiversity. Going back to the identity of Zamboanga, let's talk about the most commonly spoken language here, which is Chavacano. It's a Spanish Creole, meaning it's a mixture between Spanish and local Filipino languages.
Taapelaya el oficial con sus mga constituentes para coopera con el mejoras na implementación.
Spain colonized the Philippines in the 16th century, bringing Christianity with them. But in Mindanao, the story was a bit different. The region remained largely loyal to Islam and resisted conversion. So to assert control, Spain built the Fort Pilar in Zamboanga, establishing a military stronghold at the heart of the city. And through centuries of Spanish presence, Zamboanga became partly Christianized. So this city is really a melting pot of cultures influenced by Spanish colonization, Christianity, Islam, and even indigenous Lumad traditions. A city that functions as the cultural and economic heart of the region, while maintaining deep historical ties with its neighbors in the BARMM. Now, to emphasize that melting pot of culture, let's visit the Grande Santa Cruz Island, a place known for its pink sand beaches and thriving mangrove forests. When we got there, we hopped on these small yellow boats, gliding through a breathtaking mangrove forest. A must-try eco-adventure here in Zamboanga. In the past, due to limited educational opportunities and economic hardship, some fishermen relied on destructive methods, like dynamite and cyanide fishing, which severely damaged the marine life and coral reefs. Over time, conservation programs and education efforts have shifted this practice. Many former fishermen now work as eco-guides, leading boat tours as a sustainable alternative source of income. On the island, we also had the chance to paddle the Vinta, a traditional outrigger boat known for its distinct, colorful sail, the true icon of Zamboanga.
Yan yung naging icon. It's because this has been the mode of transportation na ginamit ng mga locals coming down south to do trade doon sa Zamboanga City itself. During those times, since yun yung nakikita sa dagat, yun na rin yung nailagay na icon ni Zamboanga during 1960s. So the colors in the Vinta sail po namin represents the 7 major ethno-linguistic group that we have in Zamboanga City living harmoniously sa city mismo namin.
And I think that's why Zamboanga is very challenging to understand. As symbolized by the Vinta, these colors represent different cultures that are all part of the identity of this peninsula. After that, we went to the pink sand beach where the sand takes on a pinkish hue due to the presence of crushed red corals mixing with white sand. But it varies depending on the season and the time of day. But my favorite part of any island trip is always the food. And since Zamboanga is the melting pot of cultures, you can also expect a melting pot of unique and flavorful dishes. If you decide to go here, make sure to try curacha, a meaty deep sea crab drenched in alavar sauce, a true Zamboangueño delicacy. So far, I've seen a side of Zamboanga that's full of color, biodiversity, and a lot of good food. But let's go back to the question, why do people fear this place? Before leaving Zamboanga City to explore the neighboring island of Basilan, we visited the current mayor of Zamboanga.
Bienvenidos, magandang hapon, and welcome to our very humble city.
He looks very young, and despite his youth, the people of Zamboanga puts a lot of confidence in him. He is very dedicated to public service as he worked his way up from SK or Sangguniang Kabataan up to now being the city mayor. Before Mayor John, Zamboanga was led by a woman named Beng Climaco.
We, the people of the city of Zamboanga, consistently rejected the inclusion of the city in the autonomous region of Muslim Mindanao.
She served 3 consecutive terms for a total of 9 years. She began her term in 2013, an unforgettable year in Philippine history.
People who are not from Zamboanga can only empathize to a certain degree.
Now, I'm not the most politically savvy creator here, but let's break it down. Now, going back to the map, Zamboanga lies here in the middle of BARMM. While BARMM isn't fully independent from the Philippines, it governs itself with autonomy to accommodate the distinct cultural and religious practices of Islam. This self-rule allows BARMM to implement Sharia law in personal and family matters, promote Islamic education and culture, and govern in a way that reflects its community's values. So here are the main differences between the Muslims in BARMM versus the Christians in the Philippines. And you can see that there's a big difference when it comes to their marriage, dietary laws, even the holidays and the dress code. So in a way, this autonomy really makes sense for the region. But BARMM itself is still relatively new. It was only established in 2019 through the Bangsamoro Organic Law. And in the upcoming 2025 elections, Bangsamoro voters will, for the first time, elect their own parliament. This means even choosing their own leaders is different from the rest of the country. But before BARMM and the Bangsamoro Organic Law, things were a bit shaky.
After visiting the mayor, we had a final stop before exploring a unique part of Basilan, and I ended up buying this beautiful red polo by the great Yakan weavers.
Isa po ako sa pang-apat na henerasyon ng Yakan Weaver. Binebenta po namin ang mga gawa namin para maipagpatuloy po namin ang aming hanap buhay at saka ang tradisyon.
She has been representing the Yakan weavers on a global stage. She brings the beautiful art form of Yakan here in the Yakan village in Zamboanga, along with other weavers and sellers. The Yakan are one of the ethno-linguistic groups that reside in Zamboanga and are from the island of Basilan, which we will explore next.
And ngayon, pupunta tayo sa isa pang considered one of the most dangerous places in the Philippines to find out if delikado nga ba talaga dito.
This is Basilan Island, specifically Isabela City. The island is part of the BARMM except for Isabela, the only area in Basilan that consistently voted against joining BARMM, which means Isabela is still part of the larger Zamboanga Peninsula or Region 9. Right away, you'll be surprised to be surrounded by houses on stilts on top of the water.
Southern islands of the Philippines are actually chain of islands. Since fish is a staple food for the people that has access to water, to body of water, then you might as well not spend your energy in traveling from inland and then go and fish, build a house on the coastline, and then eventually use your energy outside the waters. And typically, yung mga bahay sa mga coastline are always light materials. The people down south, especially those Sama people that we say it, we have to make a temporary shelter. If wala na, if ubos na yung resources dito, when I move, it's easy to move.
Because of the cultural and religious differences between Muslim Mindanao and the predominantly Christian Philippines, creating a governance system that worked for both was a major challenge. Since the Spanish occupation in the 16th century, up until recent years, these two groups have endured periods of conflict. And as a major economic hub in this part of Mindanao, Zamboanga's central location has made it a geopolitical hotspot. That's why in 2001, this happened. Since the 1980s, there have been two key political militant groups that have fought for the rights and autonomy of the Moro people, the MNLF and the MILF. In 1996, way before the BARMM, the Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, or the ARMM, was established following a peace agreement between the Nur Miswari-led MNLF and the Philippine government. While the agreement gave this region autonomy, it soon became evident that the ARMM political system was constrained, underfunded, and remained largely controlled by the Philippine government. That's why in 2001, Miswari ordered the MNLF to attack government troops in Kabatangan, Zamboanga City in an attempt to disrupt the upcoming elections. That siege ended after 2 days of negotiations, which also led to the arrest of Nur Miswari in Sabah, Malaysia, where he tried to escape. That event severely weakened the influence of MNLF over ARMM, while MILF started to gain more traction and favor by the Philippine government. So I'm trying to explain this part because I just learned this myself as well, and it's a critical part to the development and understanding of Zamboanga. Since we're near BARMM territory, let's start by exploring the stunning sights of Isabela de Basilan. Behind these mangroves lie another ethno-linguistic tribe called Sama-Bajau.
Sir.
Thank you po. Salamat.
Here, the women welcomed us with vibrant dances, but the main event here is the generous platters of native delicacies. This is called Bangbangsug, which refers to a spread of traditional pastries. It's very common in Zamboanga, Basilan, and in other areas nearby. And as someone with a sweet tooth, I absolutely love Bangbangsug. We visited another community of women that create these beautiful works of art. These are the Sama-Bajau, another ethno-linguistic group that make these hand-woven mats we call Banig. These are used for sleeping, sitting, or decoration. Since most houses here are built on top of water, it gets really cold during the night, and the material used in Banig absorbs heat, which makes this ideal for the cold nights. It's kinda crazy how we all manage to fit inside. It's like an auction house for Banig. Aside from Banig, Basilan is also famous for the Yakan weavers. This is the pride of Basilan. These are hand-woven from fibers like pinya and abaca and take days to weeks to complete. Yakan patterns primarily feature intricate geometric designs such as diamonds, zigzags, and triangles, symbolizing elements of nature and their rich culture. Yakan weavers are, in a way, storytellers, and their story is woven into this vibrant textile. Aside from the communities, Isabela is also home to some of the most breathtaking beaches. As a travel creator, I've been to some of the top beaches in the Philippines, but this is really something else. I just kept thinking, how is this place really dangerous? In just a few hours in Basilan, I experienced beauty, culture, and peace. Now, the story of Isabela de Basilan is not that far from the story of Zamboanga City. They also have experienced conflict, terrorism, and violence. But one of the most significant tragedies that this region experienced was the 2013 Zamboanga siege. While Nur Miswari was detained, the MILF now gains more influence and power over the autonomous region. Together with the Philippine government, they work towards reforming the ARMM for a more effective political governance system. Meanwhile, Miswari was released on bail in the year 2008 to participate in the review of this new peace agreement. Come 2013, the MNLF then, feeling excluded from the peace process, suddenly shifted its fight towards full independence, rejecting autonomy in favor of complete separation. September 9, 2013, at approximately 4:30 a.m., members of the Moro National Liberation Front entered Zamboanga City, attempting to raise their flag at the City Hall. For 20 days, the city has become a war zone. Eventually, the national government defeated the MNLF forces, arrested hundreds of fighters, and once again filed charges against Nur Miswari. So those two heavy events became the reasons why people fear this beautiful city. Again, Zamboanga isn't part of BARMM, but this place has become a strategic stage where these groups assert their presence and make their voices heard across the Philippines. Now, things are different. With the newly formed Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao and the Bangsamoro Organic Law in 2019, and finally, the upcoming nationwide and BARMM elections, things are starting to look up. But, is it really?
Sige, i-note ko yun tapos make sure ko na lang na may mga sources ako makuha.
Right. Yun. Kasi it's better na ganun.
So before I publish this video, I'm reaching out to Sir Errol once again just to make sure that everything I'm saying is accurate and not biased in any way. Tanong ko naman, Sir Errol, since yun yung past, parang gusto ko rin maintindihan yung present. May marami kasing nagko-comment dun sa videos na
sinasabi ko doon peaceful si Zamboanga, tapos sinasabi nila,
Right.
ay, ang daming ang barilan dito kahapon lang, mga ganun.
Right.
Totoo ba yun?
Nangyayari yun. Zamboanga City has the highest shooting incident in the region. It's mainly because Zamboanga City has a very, very low number of police to population ratio. Part of the investigations in most of them are all coming from personal grudges. Lahat may rason. Hindi siya yung parang tipong out of the blue, magmama-shooting ako. It's still generally peaceful in Zamboanga. It's because like again, yung mga nangyayari, hindi naman siya nangyayari sa common tao. Nangyayari siya kasi talagang may atraso.
Gets. Posible ba na magkaroon ulit ng violence na ganun kalala?
Zamboanga City is really open for a statement. But syempre, with the absence of education on all or on the others or other followers na pwede nilang kunin, highly probable baka mangyayari na naman yung misunderstanding. With a lot of learnings coming from different events, we are more resilient this time around. Posible pa rin mangyari, pero sasabihin ko pa rin na the hope of expecting na hindi na mangyayari is way higher than the possibility of it will happen again. So, I'm positive na yung new generation, if we keep on pushing education, making them understand at the end of the day, we are all Filipinos, this different generation will now give us the hope of telling us na hindi na mangyayari yung ganong event na magkakagulo. It's because they already understand. With the opening of circumferential roads, and then nabubuksan o nabibigyan sila ng pagkakataon mag-aral, sila na mismo ang umaakyat para sabihin sa kapwa nila na this is enough, this is not okay, this is not correct, this is wrong.
Before leaving Isabela City, the city mayor once again took the time to meet us and asked about our trip. She seemed very nice, gentle, and warm. Even her office looked so organized, and honestly, it smelled really good. To be honest, I did not expect this to be the leader of a place that people considered dangerous. So I think there really is a disconnect when it comes to the perception of the masses and how it really is here. The reason why I was compelled to make this video is because I had no idea. I went there with no context as to who the Zamboangueños are, who are the people of Bangsamoro. I was in a way sheltered from all of that. And that lack of understanding could turn into a lack of empathy towards people from this side of the country. Like Sir Errol, I believe that with greater education, awareness, and stronger leadership, we can strive for a more peaceful, united, and prosperous Philippines. Join me as we travel the Philippines with purpose, and thank you for watching this one.